and welcome to another episode of Put Me in Coach on episode 44, Diamondbacks versus Rockies Game 2. Lineup of today is just the same besides of James McCain playing catcher, and then Kendall Marte is playing DH, Vargas playing second base, and Jose Fernandez playing first base. And yep, the rest is the same and stuff. And then Adrian Del Castillo came in to pitch hit as well for, I have a feeling, James McCain and later on and stuff. Hitting wise enough, not what we saw from yesterday. I think they really struggle. I think this is a huge of enough of what we did today and stuff, and it just didn't really look good. Obviously enough, like Jose Fernandez went 2 for 4 and stuff. Same thing with Lourdes Guerrero Jr. went to 2 for 4. Marte went 2 for 4 and stuff, but McCain didn't do anything. No Leonardo. It's just so weird, like of enough. Even Vargas went 0 for 4. It's so weird enough, like Nolan Arenado went 4 walks and 1 hit, and Vargas went 4 for 4 yesterday, and he can't even get a base hit and stuff. And then Marte basically got 2 hits today, and yesterday he didn't get none. So it's very interesting of enough. I guess it just depends enough of who's the pitcher and stuff, and how excited or how confidence the batter is on typical day and stuff. You're gonna have bad days sometimes, enough good days, and it's just so weird enough of the batting is just not very consistent pretty much every day. It's hard, you gotta have specifically timing to read the speed and the spin of the ball off of the pitcher's throw and stuff, and it's very hard to do that. Like, I would definitely say baseball is one of the hardest sport out there and stuff, because you gotta have like timing as you're the batter and stuff. And you could say enough for the pitching wise as well, but I just think enough it's very hard to put some contact to the bat, to the ball, and like let it fly and stuff. A lot of people have very talented skill from baseball, but currently enough, pretty much everybody in baseball back then, in like maybe the early 1900s times and stuff, hearing enough of they do struggle from other people, and stuff, like hearing about like not, is it Ty Cobb? Maybe it was Ty Cobb. Something about like Ty Cobb has a hard time hitting off of Walter Johnson, because Walter Johnson was that good in a way and stuff. And honestly enough, Ty Cobb is also a really good player as well. He was a great hitter, one of the best at that time and stuff, till the time of, Babe Ruth came along and stuff, and again, Babe Ruth can get a ground hit and people get him out, or fly balls or strike him out and stuff. It just depends enough who's the pitcher, who's the batter, and how they perform. So it's so weird enough of having differently of who did what from yesterday and today. It's very weird, but it's what it is and stuff. And then in the 8th inning, Jorge Barosa went to center field, and Ryan Waldman was playing in center field, but he went to left field to take out Lourdes Guerrero Jr. at left field. So that's pretty much of that. Pitching-wise of enough, Eduardo Rodriguez starting pitching for the Diamondbacks. He went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits, struck out 6, walked none, gave up 3 runs. So back in enough of 3-run Rodriguez at this time and stuff. But I think he did okay. I think he got a little bit lit up from the Rockies offense and stuff. The Rockies offense were just putting contact and stuff. I don't think people were really, surprised enough of what, Kelly did from yesterday and Rodriguez today and stuff. It's just a matter of fact of how confident the Rockies offense were, and they found some contact and they found a way to get base hits off of him. So that's pretty much of that. Pitcher for the Rockies, Tomoyaki Sugno, if I'm pronouncing that right. He went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, struck out none, walked 2, and then gave up 2 runs. And so he did okay. I thinking he didn't I thinking he kind of was matchup with Rodriguez a little bit and stuff. Didn't really strike out a lot of anything and stuff, but yeah, I'll give it to Rodriguez a little bit, but there was a lot of, I guess, just the Rockies offense were just going a little off, and Sagona was just getting some ground balls off the Diamondbacks offense, so just that was weird. Yeah, so it just depends enough of what's really going on from pitching wise of enough. I thinking just the way enough of how the Rockies were performing today and how the Diamondbacks were performing today and stuff. So that's where enough of it's the difference. Bullpen for the Diamondbacks, Taylor Clark, Jonathan Laskizia, Brandon Garcia, Kevin Ginkel at the end and stuff. So that's pretty much of that. Bullpen is doing good, but we did give up 1 run in the bullpen, but it's what it is and stuff. Scoring and stuff, I'm going to talk about, well, I didn't really talk about all of them, but mostly I'm going to get most of the scoring of today and stuff. DJ Romefield hit a RBI single to make it 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Mickey Moniak hit a RBI single to make it 2-0 in the bottom of the first. And then Jose Fernandez steals second base while Lourdes Jr. still home to get some runs on the board to make it 1-2 top of the second. Jake McCarthy hit a RBI single to make it 3-1 bottom of the second. That was my boy, former Diamondbacks. And then Corbin Carroll hit a RBI double to make it 2-3 top of the fifth. The final score was 2-4. Fortunately enough, we lost and stuff. So our record is now 21-23. So now we're going 2 down of 500 and stuff. Could say enough of how did we lose against the Rockies in some ways enough. The Rockies just came out hacking today and stuff. So you gotta give Tap some good for performance from the Rockies. Because Rodriguez, he did okay, but he did give up 3 runs in a way and stuff. Progress. I thinking the offense is the most struggled for today and stuff. I get about Rodriguez only gave up 3 runs and stuff, and then fortunately bullpen and stuff. I didn't really talk about the other scoring because basically enough, it was just hit by pitch when it was bases loaded and stuff. So it really wasn't really mattered to talk about and stuff, but yeah, there was a lot of opportunities. The Diamondbacks could absolutely took the lead and win this game and stuff. But fortunately enough, I guess the bullpen for the Rockies just shut them down in a way and stuff. It was just not their day, I guess. But yeah, just not good performing from the offense for the Diamondbacks and stuff. They got a couple hits here and there and stuff, but they can't score when there's runners on base and stuff, and it's just really weird how that is and stuff. This is the time enough of if you have runners on base, get them home. That's your goal from their point and stuff. In the beginning enough, if there's nobody on base, you get on base and stuff, and then other people have take the roles enough to get you to home so they can get some RBIs and runs and help the team up and all stuff. We're a team for a reason, so help the team what you can do and stuff. And if there is a big moment to the plate and stuff, and there's a way to get back into the game, they absolutely could. But fortunately, they really struggled today and stuff. So that's why we lost and stuff. And I'll give kudos a little bit for pitching wise enough, because Rodriguez did really well just to have it 3 runs off the Rockies and stuff. But fortunately enough, Diamondbacks just can't get back into the game and stuff to basically tie the game up or get another run or anything and stuff. And then fortunately enough for Garcia to give a 1 run away by hitting a person at bat and stuff when its bases loaded and stuff, and that also didn't help at all and stuff. So that's a really struggle thing where enough of the pitching is doing their job to not giving so much runs and stuff, and offense just not doing anything just to help out to get back in the game. So that's the most struggling thing of it. We need to get back into what we did yesterday. I get it was just the Rockies, but you can't lose a team is not this good at this time. Like, I'm not trying to respect anything from the Rockies and stuff, but fortunately enough, I guess they performed pretty good just to get a win and stuff. You're not going to win every game, but fortunately enough, to me of enough, I do want to win every game and stuff. I want to be competitive team at this time and stuff, and we're nowhere going to do this good if we're going to lose and win games like this way enough. I don't want to be stuck at 500 team this whole time. We're not gonna get to the playoffs this easy and stuff. We probably have a chance. We might go in the wild card and stuff, but how risky is that? So you gotta understand of enough of we need to give advantage to win games and stuff. And I understand enough of we're against of a team that doesn't really have a lot of wins over us and stuff, but it's just like these are the typical things enough that I specifically thought enough of we're gonna look into it and win this game today and stuff, and totally squeeze the Rockies and stuff, because that's how bad it is. But fortunately enough for today and stuff, again, I would appreciate enough of what the Rockies did, but it's just the Diamondbacks just didn't really perform today. So that's pretty much of that and stuff. So it's a bummer. Again, you could say enough of you can't win all games, but currently enough of this is the way enough of if you want to be this way of you can't win every game, then you're not going to be a champion team at this time and stuff. And fortunately enough at this point of what they're looking at, they're not going to be a championship team, and that's going to be the honest answer at this point and stuff. If we're going to be in that situation with the Yankees and Dodgers and maybe the Cubs or whatever and stuff, trying to go to the playoffs and try to win the whole thing and stuff, we got to perform better than at this time and stuff. And to be honest enough, who cares enough who we're facing and stuff? If it's a better team or a worse team, let's win all games. That's what it's all about and stuff. So that's pretty much of that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Have a great day, and thank you for watching. And fortunately enough, it's do or die tomorrow.